Hello and welcome back to the channel for another video. I put out a poll and asked if you wanted to see another Helloleesh video, and these were the results. So because of that, I am making this video. Now, there's a bit that I want to talk about that isn't really to do with the whole Discord stuff, which is what the majority of this is going to be about, but I'm going to leave that bit till the end of the video. This bit's going to be a fair bit of reading, but let's just get on with it. So this was tweeted by the account Fat Sajak. Here is the initial tweet right there. And then this is what it says. I'm not typically a messy tweet maker and I'm not looking to start now, but I do want to clarify a few things for those who may be curious. I'm no longer supporting Helloleesh as a member of her community, as a mod or as a friend. It's been sort of a long time coming over the course of this year. While I am not one to air out dirty laundry or go into detail on personal matters, unfortunately I found out I cannot say the same for Alicia. In addition to the hurt of just patently bad friendship toward me and some others in the community, there was a situation that culminated in shit talking, sharing personal messages and being outright two-faced. And that's fine if you want that kind of thing in your life, but you see, I graduated high school back in 2004. So I'm good on that front. I've made some fantastic friends in that community and I'm grateful for them, but unfortunately my time there has come to an end. The reality is friendships end all the time, and this is sadly just one of those times. I sincerely wish Alicia nothing but happiness and growth in whatever life has in store for her. Please do not send hate or harassment to Alicia or any parties that wish to stand by her. Please know if you are one of those parties that wish to stand by her, that's okay by me too. I also want to share that. Don't send any hate to Helloleesh or Alicia as a result of this video or as a result of anything. That should be obvious, but sometimes it's worth repeating it. This was, as far as I remember, an anonymous post. None of these have, to my knowledge, really screenshots to back them up. They're just statements about the community. There are some things that I've seen that have screenshots and stuff. There's someone who said that Leash spoke bad about them and then they attached a screenshot from a podcast or something. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these are the mods or the people close in the community and they've come out and said stuff. This person goes on to say, this is going to be long and uncomfortable. To be perfectly honest, I hope to not engage at all and that this situation will resolve at some point, but this has been chewing in my brain and I need to get it out. My first reaction upon seeing the news that Alicia recorded herself singing along to lyrics with the N-word and F-slur in them can't even be isolated to the incident itself, because I learned about it when she came into French chat, a channel for OGs who were also YouTube mods for Leash, to say something along the lines of, hey, I need to write a statement because someone found a recording of me singing a rap song with the N-word in it. I can't say that's verbatim because I don't screenshot from behind a paywall, but that was the gist of the message, slanty face included. I also read a couple of hours after the fact, so I got to read how everyone responded in real time, and how much pushback Leash gave to their criticism. Someone had to correct her and let her know that she had said the F-slur too. She seemed shocked at this and asked, really? This detail is burned into my brain because since I learned after the fact that she was still active on the Smule app, even encouraged some of her patrons to join, and was very well aware that the recordings existed in the first place. That's interesting because in my previous video I mentioned about Minnie and how Minnie had joined Smule. I actually don't know if that made it into the video, but Minnie, who I spoke about in the previous video, had recently joined Smule. She wanted to write a statement, aka a notes app apology. She was given immediate pushback on this, which she resisted. She wanted to get something out right away. People said she needed to take a step back because she was panicking and not going to make the best decisions in her current state. She eventually decided on squeezing in the time to sit down and film a short apology right before she had to attend a meeting for her day job. On one hand, as a spectator, I can appreciate the urgency. On the other hand, as a mod and patron who had frequently witnessed her making impulsive decisions that will eventually blow up and cause chaos within the community, I was frustrated. The narrative going around I've seen in some circles is that she was dropped without a word because she didn't address this Smule situation in exactly the right way. She couldn't please everyone, and that was just an unfortunate, unavoidable circumstance of a past mistake. This is not true. Because for me, as well as many others, this was just the latest issue to pop up in a longer line of concerns. They go on to say, I don't know how long I've been a mod for, because time isn't real. There's been at least 8 months, long enough to grow frustrated with how things have been handled in several different instances. Scenarios dealing with discussions of microaggressions and transphobia that were handled clumsily at best, and reluctantly at worst. If we want to educate people, change people's minds, we need to be open to asking ignorant questions. Not verbatim, but this is the sentiment. Leash has echoed this before, so I expect she'll understand. This attitude even extends to when those can I misgender someone if they're a garbage person? No. What if they're a serial killer? Not verbatim sentiment. This is a conversation that happened within Leash's space, and it led to a huge disagreement among some of her oldest supporters, and she will swear up and down that the person was in the wrong and that was not okay, but simply will not concede that it was conscious transphobia, even though she has made it clear how unacceptable it is to disregard someone's pronouns because you don't like them on her platform. Leash once laminated in mod chat that she wished she knew where microaggressions were happening. But she did know, at least somewhat, because the people she interacted with most told her, we told her. She just didn't agree. If Leash wants to make this whole thing about woke points, then we can actually bring up past issues like that to the table. But again, none of this was the triggering point for so many leaving the server plus severing ties with Leash, although she lost some good people related to that incident and others. So much of this has become personal. So much of this boils down to how you show people you care about them, how much you value their time and mental/emotional energy that they put into their relationship with you, and ultimately the way so many people felt used to cast aside because they thought they were in a very real friendship with someone who only saw them through a parasocial lens. I was never under the impression you and I had a very deep connection. We were friendly with one another, liked one another, but we weren't friends. We exclusively only ever DM'd to talk server issues or issues involving past and or present patrons. But I was friends with people who did consider you a friend at least, if not a close friend. And the way I watch you treat those people is not okay. I won't say everyone involved were pure as the driven snow, angels of the light beams, and fairy dust, while Leash is just the big bad YouTube creator out to destroy them, even though I've seen Leash vehemently declare the goal of these people who were friends with her for over a year, must be to destroy her completely or run her off YouTube. Have there been decisions made that I myself wouldn't have made? Yes, on both sides. Has there been harsh, even mean things said? Yes, on both sides. That doesn't mean the criticism was entirely 100% inaccurate, and is not an excuse for the fuckery I have witnessed. They were telling their truth, and while you can disagree on circumstances, viewpoints or tone, by my estimation and several others, they were not treated well. You had a mod who literally disappeared for months, and you never checked in on them, never asked them if they were okay or if something was going on. This was someone who worked for you, for free, actually no, not for free, they paid you, who did research for you, who helped enforce your rules and expectations in a community you were building. It's just parasocial, so I'm guessing checking in isn't really necessary. Fine. Let's talk about hypocrisy then. For someone who has a whole ass rule stating don't talk about ex-patrons in the Discord servers/lives, you seem to break it a lot, so I am annoyed. You do realise you are doing the same thing you criticise others for doing. Not only are you breaking your own rule, but just because you don't say someone's name when you're talking about them doesn't mean you aren't allowed to have feelings about what you say or about the fact you chose to talk about them in a place among their peers when they may not even have the option of defending themselves and sharing their point of view. And don't even get me started on the number of personal things about others you have shared during Patreon lives that we absolutely had no business knowing. I'm uncomfortable with the knowledge that you have shared and embarrassed I didn't say something sooner. For someone whose mental health policy reads, if you are in need of support, please utilize the resources below. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis or personal emergency, please call 911 or 1-800-662-HELP or 1-800-662-4357. This will connect you with a national helpline crisis counsellor, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Association. If a message is received on any of my platforms indicating a crisis situation, you will be directed to those numbers, or if a moderator is capable, an emergency call will be made on your behalf. But has phoned multiple people, some of which are also patrons, while you actively are having a panic attack or breakdown. I am appalled. For someone who has personally experienced what it's like to feel responsible for someone in the middle of a crisis but continues to force others into that position, I am horrified. For someone who has said over and over again that you are in charge of your mental health and to seek help if you need it, that is something you only can do for yourself, then to see you time after time fail to take care of yourself and step away, I am saddened. I used to get angry with people, actually angry when they suggested you were being inappropriate when you hopped on livestream during the Gabby Hannah hate mob for support, when they suggested you were leaning too heavily on your patrons. I didn't think it was fair to judge someone during what was obviously a traumatizing incident. I defended it, but now I'm seeing that behaviour in your own personal relationships and it is upsetting. You were spiraling, and instead of seeking out help, taking a step back, you decided to slide into people's DMs and gather information. You decided to reach out to as many people as possible, even stock of who supported you and who didn't. You decided to latch onto someone else and pin everything on them. You blame them for everything, for people leaving, for being angry with you, for your anxiety, your guilt, your need to be absolved of personal responsibility, and when they didn't give you exactly what you wanted, you said their goal must be to break you down. I didn't know how to begin or how to respond to that, because this is not healthy. This is not acceptable treatment of your friends. You actually consider these people friends, and on top of that, this person was fighting for you so hard. And then this weekend, they were told you were never friends, it's just parasocial. But it was you who reached out to them when you were having a breakdown, and despite the tense nature of the relationship between the two of you, they walked you through it. They were there for you, and it was you who again reached out to them, crying, make it stop, referencing the actions of others, as if this person somehow had control over the other people who were upset with you. They were one of the most neutral, if not the most neutral person in this scenario. They didn't want to see you suffer, they just wanted you to do better. I wish I could express to you the heartbreak that makes me feel, not just for them but for you. You lost out on an amazing friendship because you couldn't handle them saying that your behaviour was hurtful and unacceptable. You couldn't handle them placing a boundary. This reminds me of the time you asked someone else if they were trying to purposely make you anxious because they told you that they needed space and time away from you, because whether you realise it or not, it takes a lot out of a person to be there for you constantly. I understand that you have been through a lot of traumatic shit in the past 2 years, I absolutely do. There's a difference between living with your trauma and living in your trauma. You projected an insecurity onto someone who never earned it, someone who gave you their all to the server and was one of the main reasons anything was getting done in that space for the last few months. You essentially asked them if they were sure they weren't deliberately using your own anxiety against you, which, as you can imagine from the outside looking in, seems insulting as fuck at its most basic level. People now who once considered themselves friends with you are expressing that they feel like they can't have the tough conversations with you, that they point out something you did hurt them, it is minimized. When they try to explain that they think you are making a mistake, they are told they are wrong. That when they try to hold you accountable, you begin to spiral and say that you can't handle it, it's giving you too much anxiety, you're having a panic attack, etc. This whole time it feels like watching someone who can't swim jump into the ocean, scream for someone to save them, and then reject the personal flotation device that is thrown to them. I don't think you realise it, or maybe I just hope that you don't realise it, but other people are getting dragged down with you, and it's frustrating / frightening to watch. You have no concept of boundaries and seem to cultivate close relationships with people in your online community, but only for so much as they can serve you. My psychologist knows about you, of course we're friends. They're just some ex-supporters. You've made my life a living hell. These are all statements you've made yourself, not verbatim, just the sentiment, about the people mentioned above, individuals who were not only fixtures within this community, but were also at least partly responsible for how welcoming and engaging it was. More to the point, you shouldn't have been behaving this way, and people who are also your followers, subscribers and patrons. If they're your friends, treat them as such. If they aren't, make that fully clear. If they're truly just your supporters or people who pay you every month, stop dragging them into your mental health struggles. Don't call them when you're spiraling, don't trauma bond with them, don't message them and prompt them to invest emotionally plus mentally labour in you. The past month or so has been extremely chaotic, and I honestly am considering stepping back from everything myself for my own well-being. I'm not ignorant or apathetic to the fact that it must be affecting you negatively as well, and I want to say that you need to step back and reevaluate how you cultivate and maintain relationships in your life, online and offline. But the unfortunate thing is, I know I'd just be one of many who have already suggested this and been ignored. This isn't about cancel culture or woke culture or SJWs or any of that. These communities are more than capable of speaking for themselves, and I know you've heard a lot from them. This thing I've seen repeated over and over, that people are just fake woke or nitpicky, is not the point of all this. If political correctness was the point, people had reasons to leave before. I mean, it certainly wasn't great or appreciated. It didn't help matters. But it's not the issue that has caused you to lose a good chunk of your close friend group, or again, what people thought was your close friend group. The issue is how you interact with and treat people in your life. I don't think anyone in this situation is perfect by any means. Perfection isn't the goal or expectation. But I am by far the most disappointed in you, even though I understand that probably means fuck all, because who am I to you, right? Just an ex-supporter, an enemy of the state, I guess. Yet at the end of the day, you're the only one with the platform. You're the one who has a responsibility to draw the line, to set the standard. If you're going to make a career off of criticizing others, that is indeed what will make you happy. You need to make sure you can handle being criticized yourself before you do. And perhaps make sure you measure up to the same standard and expectations you hold for those individuals that you critique. Mostly I want to make clear I'm not mad at you on behalf of myself. I knew where we stood with one another, that we weren't close. I'm mad on behalf of my other friends who were given the impression that you considered them a friend, or that they were someone integral to your community, and then treated them like crap. If you can make it right with them, I don't have anything else to say. I would also hope that with this change came a better response to critique, but honestly that isn't any of my business anymore. I wish for a change, growth and healing for everyone involved, and this is where I'll leave it. Edit 10/18/21. This was originally written as an event plus a way to process my feelings and not intended to see the light of day. However, recently more information has come to light that prompts me to consent to this being shared because I am no longer comfortable remaining silent. As someone who once thought I had the measure of Leash as a person, a creator and a friend, I'm really quite speechless. This goes far beyond political correctness or making an honest mistake. This is dishonest and disingenuous behaviour at best, and at worst, I won't go there. But I assume anyone who's been following along can take a guess. This was the first time I became so entrenched in an online community to see it culminate like this. There are no words. To those who have been hurt or otherwise affected by Leash's harmful behaviour, I'm so sorry, I see you and I hear you, you deserve better. To Leash, I don't despise you or want to run you off YouTube, though I do think taking a break and reevaluating would be better for you in the long run. Ultimately, I hope you can learn from this, improve, take a break, this vicious cycle you're stuck in, because it certainly doesn't seem to be making anyone happy, including yourself. There's a whole nother tweet longer by radical_Griff. I wasn't going to read it, but I will. I thought it was almost as long as the other one. It says, this has been a long time coming. I've held back on saying anything because I didn't want to stir the pot or let my thoughts and experience affect other people's perceptions of a creator they looked up to. I also knew that because I was a moderator, my experience was different than other users. I have worked for Helloleesh since May 2020 when she first put out a call for mods on her Patreon. For most of the summer I worked with her and the other mods and the Big Six very closely through all of the Gabby Hanna hate mob and the fallout of it. I met some incredible people during that time and they're still some of my closest friends to this day. Once things settled after the hate mob, things got weird. The Big Six was an interesting collection of people to say the least. The only thing we really had in common at the beginning was that we all followed Helloleesh and wanted to help when she got hate raided by Gabby Hanna. Naturally, there were splits in this group. Myself and two other users bonded because we have similar trauma and are queer. We are also a bit younger than the other three members and significantly younger than Helloleesh. This is a detail she levered against the youngest members of the Big Six, Mackenzie, every chance she got. Helloleesh constantly boiled all of the issues down to age and a lack of understanding of how the world works. This all came to a head on Twitter when Mackenzie accused Helloleesh of having a boomer mentality. This prompted Helloleesh to post a Notes app apology directed at two people, Mackenzie and Rain, for liking a few tweets and some subtweets. I need to pause here and point out that this is ridiculous. People should be able to like and say what they want on their own accounts without repercussion or fear of retaliation from a larger account. This is an important detail because other people have stated, and I have personally experienced, that Helloleesh takes a great deal of issue when users like subtweets about her. During this entire Twitter debacle, I made a tweet saying something to the effect of, "Hey, let's not judge people's life experience based on their age. When I was 20, I was a homeless drug addict who had been abused for most of their life. Can we please be kind to each other?" As a call for both Mackenzie and Helloleesh to chill out. Also, during this time, I was recovering from being in the hospital for 3 days and had just gotten back from an emergency surgery. I'm not giving these details for sympathy, I'm just giving these details for context to what happens next. This tweet calling for both sides to knock it off was seen as a direct attack on Helloleesh. She leapt into my messages demanding to know why I was taking Mackenzie's side and saying absolutely horrible things about one of my closest friends. Because I was in so much pain and discomfort from my hospital stay, I was not in a position to defend Mackenzie or Rain, or even myself, and I believe she fully knew that when she jumped into my DMs. This caused a rift in our friendship that was never repaired. I continued to work for her as a Discord mod, but stepped down from modding her live streams or other content. As others have said, the people in her community are fantastic individuals who are genuinely so much fun to hang with. They are the reason I stayed involved with the community for as long as I did. Helloleesh and I avoided each other in public spaces and really only talked professionally. She would still ask for my help getting her audio quality correct for her Spirit Club and Book Club meetings, and I led a discussion in January about Death of an Author because she, as far as I know, is still hosting a year of Harry Potter Book Club. I was still speaking to queer issues in her server and educating members of her server as well as basically serve as her representative of the entire queer community. I'll quote Jessie Ginder here because she says it so well. If you've met one queer person, you've met exactly one queer person. This is something that she could not understand at all. As a few users have already pointed out, she would tokenize people of minority identities and use as props. So what caused me to leave? If the community was so great and we're not interacting publicly, why didn't I just stay in the server but step down as a mod and continue to interact with my internet friends? Well, this is where it gets complicated and a bit personal. As some of you know, I am a recovering drug addict. I'll be 4 years clean in April and I'm very proud of that. Like anyone in recovery will tell you, including Helloleesh herself, recovery is a journey full of highs and lows. Well, in October of 2020, I reached a breaking point. I was unemployed with no health insurance and no way to help myself. I reached a breaking point and called Helloleesh to help me. She stayed with me just long enough to take the drugs off my purse and then left. The encounter lasted maybe all of 3 minutes because she gave me an inch, I gave her 3 miles. I let her treat me badly because of what she did for me that night. I won't deny that it's a good thing that she did and was incredibly helpful to me staying clean. She threw all of that good out the window in July. In July, I learned that during this incredibly low point in my life, she was saying incredibly untrue and frankly hurtful things about me to my friends. I learned that she was telling my close personal friends that I was refusing to get help, that I would not take myself to AA or NA or get myself in therapy. When I was on the phone with her in October, she made me promise to call the police if I ever got to that place again. I said it was because I wasn't thinking at all, and as we all know, an oath given under duress is not binding. I would have ended up in the hospital and then financially ruined. As much as I appreciate what she did for me that night, she did not help as much as I thought she did. So I left. When I learnt that, it felt like a slap in the face. I worked for this person for a year, considered her a friend for a time. I told her deep personal details of my life because I thought she was a close friend. I now know those details have been publicly shared online and in private messages without my consent. I've had conversations with people who have confirmed this. She's also been dragging my name everywhere she can behind the scenes. She even cautioned other mods and tried to get them not to pull off griff. I don't understand how someone could treat another person they once allied, a friend, this badly. To everyone involved, it's disappointing to see that she's not changed at all. I wish her well and continued growth as a human being. Griff. Well, there was a lot of reading. There's one more section which I'm going to switch to shortly. I recorded it before I started recording this because I hadn't read any of this and I wasn't sure how emotional it was going to be, and I didn't want to forget the next part of this video. But yeah, this is all seems pretty worrying. As I said, there's no like screenshots or anything, but there's multiple people saying the same thing, and everything's behind a paywall, and everything that kind of gets shown from behind a paywall, I'd assume Leash would potentially try and take down, maybe, given what happened with or what was threatened to Bambi's Rambles, which I'll talk about now. I just want to end this video by talking about Bambi's Rambles. Now, I have been in DMs with Bambi. I've had a few conversations with her, and my conversations with her and her responses or the conversations have been very nice, and she's always been kind to me. Although I don't always agree with everything she says, she has been nice as a person to me. And that's why I want to bring this up. Bambi made a video about something that I had made a video about. She credited me in her video, and we had been in DMs prior to that, and she'd asked a bit about it, and I sent her my video script for my last Helloleesh video so that she could see like the screenshots that I used that were blurred out. I had edited it and put in the blurred screenshots or the edited screenshots that I used in my video rather than the uncensored ones that I initially had. Now, Bambi used that script, or part of that script, or some of the information in that script for her video to talk about a situation that I spoke about, which I labelled a mini, and Bambi, I believe, also labelled them as mini. Erica Mones has also spoken a bit about it. Both of the videos will be linked in the description, by the way. Something that happened was Bambi uploaded that video and Leash saw it. Now, Leash was not happy, and something that was a bit strange was that Leash, I would say, attacked her to some extent. She called her out on her Instagram, Leash that is, and talked about how bad the video was and stuff. And the person's parents were also contacted by Leash about it, and they even commented on the video at the time, although Bambi deleted the comment, I believe, from her family members because she didn't want it to kind of be traced back to them, which is completely understandable. I know that in my video and with the information I gave Bambi, that everything was very, very minimal. There were no names mentioned, everything was as to the point but as minimal as it could be, I guess. That's why I was a bit confused about why Bambi got attacked for that video. And so that was really confusing, kind of like shooting the messenger, which was odd. I messaged Bambi a message of support and told her to like keep her chin up and stuff. I don't know why, considering I was the first one who spoke about it. I don't know why I wasn't attacked for my video. Now, I'm not asking Leash to attack anyone. I'm not asking anyone to attack anyone, actually. But it really confused me about why you would essentially shoot the messenger and there was nothing sent to me or said to me about my video. I just didn't get that, you know. And I think I said at the time, and although this probably sounds stupid, that I would rather that Leash attacked me than Bambi because I was the one who put the video out, you know. Bambi was just relaying information that I had put out there, and I didn't think that that seemed fair. Leash has also taken more jabs at Bambi since as well. Bambi showed, I think, 10 minutes of a live stream that was from Leash's Patreon, I think, and Leash said something about like striking it down. And it's a bit of an iffy thing because it's like, well, if it's public, then it's fair use because it's being reacted to. It was in a live stream, so I assume it was being reacted to. I haven't actually seen it. But then it's like, it's behind a paywall, so there's kind of like a thing, you know, it's kind of like, is that then justifiable, you know? Where does fair use come into that kind of thing? But yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about this anyway because I thought it was interesting and I didn't think it was very fair on Bambi's Rambles. Their channel will be linked in the description, by the way. Go and send them support over that. And yeah, thanks for watching. That was thunder, I think, or wind. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and peace.